Back in 2003, Game Freak did what no madman would think of. They made the Game Boy Advance classic Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire into a pinball game. You might be thinking, well, that's just a cash grab using the IP to skin a mediocre pinball game. Well, you'd be wrong. This fast-paced mashup combined the thrill of whacking a metal ball across a board with the addictive collectathon that is the Pokémon franchise. Let me explain. Pinball. We've all played it at some point, right? The simple joy of keeping that silver ball bouncing around, racking up points. But have you ever wondered what if there was more? Enter Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire. What sets this game apart from your everyday pinball experience is that it's not just about scoring points. This game gives you the greatest objective to grace video games in history: to catch them all. When playing Pokemon Pinball, you'll notice instead of a traditional pinball, you'll get a Pokeball. And what do you do with a Pokeball? Well, you do what every trainer worth his or her salt would do: you catch Pokemon. And the uniqueness of this game lies in how you accomplish this familiar task. You kickstart every level just like all pinball games, but as you play, Pokemon will pop up on the field after performing specific actions indicated by a light on the board. By skillfully whacking and bouncing your Pokeball, you can hit the wild Pokemon and catch them. The more you hit them, the closer you are to capturing that Pokemon. You have to hit the Pokemon 3 times, just like how a Pokeball will wobble 3 times before the Pokemon is caught in the main Pokemon games. And just like those main Pokemon games, different Pokemon require different strategies. That's not all that sets this game apart from the tried and true pinball formula. Just when you think it's all about bouncing a silly ball around, bam, you're suddenly whisked away to a special bonus stage, and this is where the game shines. In these stages, you're faced with popular Pokemon bosses like Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. Unlike the main part of this game where you're capturing Pokemon by hitting them with a Pokeball a couple times, this stage challenges you to use pinball mechanics to defeat these mighty Pokemon. Take the Kyogre stage for instance. Here you find yourself in a watery arena trying to hit Kyogre multiple times while it moves around, dives, and splashes. It's a dynamic challenge where both strategy, reflexes, and pinball prowess come into play. The original Pokemon pinball game, you know, that bulky one that requires a separate battery to play, also has these interesting stages, but the first Pokemon pinball walked so that Ruby and Sapphire could run. Successfully completing these bonus stage not only gives you a tremendous sense of accomplishment, but also aids in your overarching goal of catching them all. Apart from classic pinball gameplay and creature catching, this game includes a host of other mechanics that make it fun. On top of catching Pokemon, you can also evolve them. That's right, by meeting certain criteria, your captured Pokemon can evolve. Oh, and did I mention the various types of Pokeballs? From Great Balls to Ultra Balls, the game spices things up by giving you the chance to merge balls for higher catch rates. With mechanics like this, you'll realize the game is deceptively deep. Nostalgia aside, this game is a testament to how much thought was put into blending two vastly different genres. By combining the goals of a Pokemon game with the mechanics of pinball, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire feels less like a gimmick and more like a love letter to both Pokemon and pinball enthusiasts. Yes, there's a thrill of achieving that high score, but there's also the adrenaline rush of trying to catch those elusive legendary Pokemon and evolving your favorite pocket monster. It's a game that encourages you to keep playing as filling out that Pokédex becomes an obsession. Now, the Pokemon franchise has its fair share of spin-offs, from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon to Pokemon Snap, but what sets Pokemon Pinball apart is how it seamlessly merges the objective-driven world of Pokemon with the action-packed universe of pinball. And the result of that, a cohesive, immersive experience that doesn't feel like just another arcade game. It's a journey, a challenge, and a new way to experience the world of Pokemon. So if you've ever wanted to see your favorite Pokemon on a pinball field, or fancied the idea of catching a Kyogre with a well-timed flipper shot, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire is a must-play.